Dermot, thank you so much for bringing up my favourite bar, the Two Sisters in Dublin.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. No, it's a great pleasure to talk to you, Gary. At last, I have you all to myself in my favourite bar. We don't have a pint of Guinness, though. That's the only problem. But
no, but I have a cup of tea here.
we're
the modern men. We're the modern men.
We've got refreshments. Yeah, no, it's a great spot. I grew up in Terenure, and for as long as I've been able to be served, I've been going to the Two Sisters. And probably a bit longer.
I was just going to say, well qualified there.
Yeah, it's a great spot. We go down there regularly still with my wife and my two kids now. So yeah, it's a great family pub.
Where is it in Terenure? Is it on the main stretch?
Wainsford Road. So it's literally up from the KCR.
Oh yeah, so beyond the main link road to Crumlin and
exactly. Yeah.
It looks like, I'm just looking there. You can see it on your background better than mine, but there's a dub. There's a dub flag. Is that a Dublin flag? It is.
I think so. Yeah.
So
I haven't been at that angle now in a while, so
no,
I forget.
I'm just thinking that. I mean, how do you get to see that when you're on your back looking up? You know.
Yeah. Well, we won't go down that road, Gary.
No, not today. So let's assume that there is a barman. We get a few beers, sitting on those high stools, and everything gets wiped from your phone. But 3 apps. What are the 3 apps that you just cannot bear to be without?
So Tom would probably put a pint of Guinness in front of me because he knows I like the black stuff. I think WhatsApp is probably my favorite app, not just because of the amount of texts I get from you, Gary, but I do get texts from other people as well. Although my wife does wonder, who is that texting you in the middle of the night? I was like, oh, that's Gary from Host in Ireland.
It's not my middle of my night. Although I think you're sending me a message there. I won't do that again if I did it before.
We tend to go to bed a bit earlier than everyone because we have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. So
I get it.
But our night time is probably your evening time.
I get it, and but you have a 3 and a 1-year-old. Wow.
Yeah. So it's hectic.
You're in the middle.
It's great. Don't get me wrong, but you get.
Yeah,
I think I've aged about 10 years in the last 3.
I know, and suddenly you realize you're not the most important person in the world. All 40 years of believing it.
The stark realization has hit me, and I'm actually okay with it. I've accepted it.
Right? Yeah. Well, maybe that's due to a bit of age and a bit of wisdom as well. Don't fight it.
I think so.
Don't fight it.
I think so. It's all come together to this to this point where I'm actually good with it, and I can go on with my day, and I'm not going to worry about it. You know yourself. There's a lot of change when the little ones arrive, and sometimes that's hard to accept and to deal with. But yeah, it can take a while. Perseverance.
So
you don't really have a choice.
No, you have no choice. Is the second app some sort of mellow background music to put you to sleep or keep you awake? What is the other app?
The second app is the I have a sort of a dual persona on Instagram. I have a passion for collecting miniature scale mining machinery. So I take photographs of it and I put it on Instagram.
Hold on. There's so much to take in there. Mining, okay. Scale mining. Mining, as in digging for coal and yeah, that mining.
That's it. Yeah. So it's a funny one. But I've had a passion for construction machinery, mining machinery for years and years and years, and I've been collecting these small miniature versions for about 30 years now.
Wow.
So I thought, why not? It was actually during the lockdown. I started taking photographs of them, and there's a bit of a community on Instagram, and you get the odd few followers and stuff. So I take a photograph and I put it up, and I put some comments, where I got it, how old it is, what type of machine it is, and that type of thing. So it's a little bit of a hobby, and it's kind of stood to me all this time.
hold on. When the rest of us were collecting uh, Lionel Messi cards or whatever we were doing, you're 30. So when you were 13, you basically
Yeah,
started. Now, I'm going to be totally dumb here, but Ireland doesn't have a huge pedigree in mining. It's not like
no,
you're in Wales or something. So how does a young boy in Terenure, South Dublin, effectively end
yeah.
up? What was it? Was it a family thing?
It's well, I think it had just evolved from like when I was born, I lived in Wellington, and my dad had a JCB 3C parked in the driveway, and he'd go out and he'd paint it, and he'd start it up, and he'd maintain it, and I was pretty sure we were the only people in the area with a JCB in the driveway. But I photographs of me when I was two, sitting in the front seat, pulling the levers, and yeah, it evolved from that.
Just for listeners, we're talking about an urban housing estate here. We're not talking about the middle of a farm or the country or something. We're talking about sort of South Dublin,
Yeah,
semi-detached houses, and your next door neighbor has a JCB.
yeah.
Right.
Dublin 6, Gary. Dublin 6.
Dublin 6. Spot on. Dublin 6. I would absolutely say that you were probably one of the few families that had a runaround JCB.
Just a runaround, yeah.
It's just so random, and I don't mean that in a
Very
bad
random.
way.
Yeah.
And let's get into your dad's head for a second. So he just wanted to do it up or paint it, or like what was the function of
He the intent was to build. He wanted to build a house,
it?
and so dad being dad said, "Well, I want to build a house, so I'm going to buy the machinery to build it."
Yeah.
Like, where are you going to build a house? So, well, I'll find out where I'm going to build a house, in due course, but I'm going to need a digger first. So that's the that's the mentality. Yeah,
And I have to ask, did he ever get to use it? Did you ever? Did you?
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Did he?
Actually, we weren't in Wellington for too long. I think we were excommunicated because of the JCB. But we moved to Meath for a few years,
Oh,
where we built a bungalow, and yeah, we lived there for God about 7 years, I think, and then we moved back to Terenure. So
without the JCB, I hope.
with less the JCB, yeah,
JCB was dropped, so you were allowed back into the community, but the subject to no JCB. Wow,
yeah, yeah.
that is
That's
just
it.
that's a complete sort of that's a new one. That's a definite first for this show. I love that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. There you
fantastic.
go. I think he wanted to build a house just so he could drive the JCB.
Jesus, we're only boys, particularly lads. We're all just children. I mean, he obviously was handy as well. You don't just go out. I wouldn't go out and buy.
Very handy. Ah, yeah.
Yeah, I can't even fix a doorknob. So, you'd want to know what you're getting into. But I have a little story about my own father and the JCB as it happens. So, I don't know if you know that up to the 60s, it took hundreds of men to dig trenches because effectively a man could only dig a hole up to his shoulder, right?
Yes.
When you'd be digging a 9 foot trench, you'd have to have three men effectively to get it out of the ground. One to bring it up to that level, and they'd have a plinth, and then he'd scoop it off that and he'd lift it up. And then you'd have another guy throwing it into the back of a truck or something. And the whispers went around the 40-man shovel in the UK. The 40-man shovel. Yeah.
Well,
That went
yeah.
around the 40-man shovel. It's going to come in. It's going to wipe out all jobs. It's going to wipe out all the rest. And as my father always said, even then, he said, no man wants to dig holes all day. No man,
Yeah.
no matter what
Yeah.
circumstance. So, of course, a little bit like the world we're in now with data and AI and all the rest of it, too. I mean, there's always change. But he went off and he got himself, he became a mechanic to fix them, to fix the
Yes.
JCBs and fix the
Yes.
trucks. Because there was much more. What it meant was the 40 foot or the 40 foot, the 40 bucket, the shovel, 40-man shovel allowed
Yes.
more trenches to be built and faster.
Yes. Yeah.
More
Yeah.
people were working
Exactly.
digging trenches. And that was his story with the 40 foot. So because of the JCB, he became a mechanic, and then he ended up owning a few.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
There's
how it evolves, isn't it?
that's how it evolved. But we can link it in as well, can't we, to some of the more innovative tools? Because that's what a JCB is. It's a very sophisticated tool that
Yeah,
replaces. But sometimes we don't look at history and learn, and then we all get very excited about sort of tools in the digital world that you're building, and we always,
yes,
our brain is conditioned to go to the negative. Oh, that'll wipe out all the jobs.
yes, yeah. I think use it if it's there. Use it,
Yeah,
and to your advantage. Definitely, that's what the tools are there for.
it's a tool. That's great.
Embrace them.
Love that story, Dermot. Jeez, that's the first. So the third app, we're still on the
We're
apps.
still on the apps. My
Yeah. So
God.
what's your third app?
Oh, LinkedIn. By far, it's
LinkedIn.
excellent, and it kind of puts manners on everyone. But it's lovely to network and to I did a course last week with the Uptime Institute, and I gained a couple of contacts from that, and
Yeah.
it's just nice to see people working through their careers, but also to connect with like-minded people with the industry in general, and of course you guys are very prominent on LinkedIn, hosting Ireland, and I've been following yourself and Michelle for the last couple of years, even before I became the executive council. So
Welcome on board as well.
yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
I'm delighted. I really am
Yeah.
delighted. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
excellent. I'm looking forward to the year.
It's a good group of people. I think one of the things, it's a bit like LinkedIn in one respect, is it's hard to keep everybody aligned with a sense of purpose.
Yeah,
And what I find on all social media platforms, including LinkedIn, is the detractors or the negative voices. They still get an airing, and they still annoy you. But then you have to look at the majority of people who may have better or more informed, and it allows you to
yes,
form your own opinion based on
it does.
the collective. Um,
Yes.
even though we always listen to that negative voice in the corner, the one of the 100, you still. I think it's just humans, is it, Dermot?
I know, yeah. It's like the reviews on the internet. You always you skip through hundreds of positive reviews to find the negative. What did they say?
You're spot on. Every time we go on holidays, Dermot, my wife goes on to TripAdvisor, and
That's it. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
there's 99 fantastic, and one that's, oh look, that wouldn't suit us.
yeah, yeah.
But there's a great story about Einstein. I don't know if you know Einstein, obviously highly intelligent, blah blah blah, but he had to earn a living, and he was a lecturer, university lecturer, and every first day of every first semester, he'd turn his back on the class, and he'd go one by one is one, down to 1 by 99 is 99, and he'd leave one wrong in there, and he knew what was going to happen. He'd turn around, and all the hands would be up. Einstein. Imagine calling out Einstein. 1 by 67 is not 68. And he just says, no, no problem. Why is nobody putting their hand up saying I got 99 of them right?
Yeah, yeah.
Why aren't you telling me? Hey, well done, you got 9.
It's
It's just to your point there. It's that one.
human nature.
It's human nature. Yeah, human nature. But LinkedIn definitely is I guess as well for people who have different interests. You can find your tribe. Same with your Instagram thing. I mean,
Exactly.
you are
Exactly.
definitely, without question, the first person I know. Yeah, no, definitely, that is interested in miniature mining bits. I mean, I know we didn't get back to finish that discussion, but it's that's the beauty of social media or platform,
Yes,
is that,
exactly. It is
yeah,
it is bringing it creates communities. It allows people to to engage in stuff that they really like, and you could be you get these comments in from a person you'll never ever meet in your life, but all of a sudden you've got a rapport because they like your digger.
like your digger. Maybe that's a different site. Are you talking about the miniature?
No,
No, no. Sorry. The daytime show. The daytime show. But again, we just talk about it for a minute, if you don't mind. But is there 100 people in Ireland that have an interest in miniature? Is there
Oh,
farm? Is
in
there?
Ireland, I'm not sure. If there is, they're not on Instagram. Usually, it's people from
Yeah,
around the world. Yeah,
yeah,
I see very few people from Ireland on it now. In fairness, same with Facebook.
yeah. I guess it's just there's no tradition.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Well, it's done, and people collect them, and they don't necessarily promote it or
yeah,
broadcast that they do.
but it's a bit like particularly now you're finding, I guess, with the young family and with your work and all the rest. It's still so important for us all to have something else that it doesn't really matter what it
Yeah,
is. It could be figurines from Ladro. It could be anything that just bring your
something. Yeah,
bring your
you're
brain.
absolutely right. When you don't have it, for me, what reignited the hobby was we were in lockdown. We just had our son just arrived, and there's very little time. I had very little time on my hands because I was looking after him and my wife. But I needed some sort of an outlet. So I thought, this is just sitting there. I'll set up a couple of shelves in my room, and now it's evolved to I've moved house since, and now I have a full glass cabinet full of these things. And my wife's like, "Oh my god,
Oh,
like no more, please, no more."
yeah, yeah. And do you bring it up at all opportunities at every dinner party you go to?
Oh, absolutely. I've had this conversation a few times in the last couple of months.
Why?
You wouldn't
What?
believe.
You're so right, though. Why talk about rugby and soccer or whatever? Everybody has that.
Yeah,
You've got miniature, and even to say it, miniature mining machinery.
mining equipment. Yeah, yeah,
3M, 3M might be interested in your mining minute. Anyway, so
yeah.
quick last question: what motivates you?
Well, in work, this is very easy for me. It's like I'm extremely lucky. Love. I just have an inherent love for construction. But I'm a self-professed data center enthusiast. Like I've been following the evolution of data centers ever since I've worked in them back 25 years ago now. And it's been very interesting to see what it's actually come to, and I'm even more interested in what's next. So it's for me the technicality of it, everything, the engineering side, that's been my key focus. Obviously, since I finished my time, I went back to college at night time. I didn't take the easy route for anything. I went in the evening time for about 8 years, I think, and I'm still doing courses. So it's the learning with it as well. Um, but the job satisfaction, in general contracting, for me, that daily takeaway, you see progress. Even if you're demolishing something,
Yeah.
you see progress because you're one step closer to completing the job and handing over those keys to the client.
It's fantastic that you actually can find. Isn't there an old saying that if you find something to work at that you're passionate about, you won't work a day in your life?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
right
it's
along that.
yeah, it's very important. I think if you can find something that, or at least if you're not, fully, if you don't fully embrace what you do, to find something in it, even
It,
something that will inspire you.
isn't that the key? Is that I was a salesman and I was oh, I loved the hunt, I loved all that, but I was a terrible sales manager, terrible. But just due to the process that it was expected that the top sales dude would become a sales. I was a terrible sales manager and I was
Yeah,
miserable. I was miserable. And I wasn't very good at holding others accountable because I wanted to be out hunting. I didn't want to them talking to me about their hunt. You know what I mean?
yes,
So I think somewhere along the line, I was lucky enough to be able to reverse it out and say, no, I don't want to be a sales manager. You know, even though
yeah,
on an org chart it sort of was, oh, you went from here down. But for me, it was peace of mind. It was a better role. And I think that's what you're saying there is that, you know, find your place that you're most comfortable with.
yeah,
Because I guess as we get older and families and stuff like that, it's not always the dough that makes you happy. I know a lot of very miserable rich people.
Yeah.
Very miserable rich people. And I know a good few, as you do as well, very content, happy people who don't have a lot of dough.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so,
It's getting up and getting at it in the morning, and if you can overcome that reluctance through just being generally enthusiastic about what you're going to get involved in, it's for me, it's that's it. I'm up and I'm gone and I'm out. I'm on site. I'm in the thick of it. We're on the front line. It's we're making it happen. You know, a lot of people speculate. They talk about data centers. They you know, but none of them actually see the building, or they can't appreciate the work that goes into actually producing a turnkey solution for a client. You know, it's we actually make it happen, and that's probably the biggest motivator for me.
but it's Dermot, it's been short and sharp. We've absolutely gone around the houses.
Yeah.
It was fantastic, though. It was absolutely fantastic. JCB. I mean, now I have my story in JCB. You have a JCB story. We could start an Instagram JCB story group. You
I
see,
think we should.
and I bet you there are people like your dad who have all JCBs.
Legends, you mean?
Legend. The legend part of it, though, is that I know Terenure Dublin 6, and particularly you're talking about the 80s and 90s, it was a pretty good address to live in. JCBs weren't your norm by no standard in the drive. Yeah. I'm just flabbergasted. Dermot, thanks a million. Stay safe.
Thank you very much. Great talking to you. Bye bye.